5 years ago, last Sunday night, Pat Clancy took a wife. It was little Bridget Dooley who would stick by him for life. And they gave a wooden wedding, the event to celebrate, and calling all his neighbours, his friends, both small and great. Now each one was supposed to bring a present made of wood. Some of the things they brought were bad and some were very good. You'd really think a lumber yard exploded in the room when Clancy gave the wedding made of wood. For there was all kinds of wood brought into the house that night. Hardwood, softwood, kindling wood to light. Wooden shavings, enough to fill a bed, were brought to Clancy's house when he was 5 years wed. Now the first one to get there was Clancy's cousin Dan, and he brought for a present a Japanese fan. Big Tim Maloney, then as neat as a pin, he brought a cradle for to rock the baby in. Murphy sent a sawhorse, Cassidy a sleigh. O'Brien sent a cord of wood for which he didn't pay. McGinnis sent a keg of beer to keep the spirits up. At Patton Stolwart, Sullivan brought a wooden bathtub. There was wood that came from China, wood that came from Spain, wood from Jerusalem across the raging main, wood that came from Russia sent by the Tsar, wood that came from Ireland enough to fill a barn, wood that came from England and wood that came from Wales, wood that came from Scotland and wood that came from jail. They passed around the whiskey and they passed around the ale. The glasses weren't big enough to use the wooden pail. Everyone was feeling fine, no one was feeling dry. All was in their glory and their glory it was high. Someone asked Clancy, would he sing a song? Clancy said he would, but his voice was gone. Big Tim Maloney then he gave a recitation. It was all about the kinds of wood that grew in every nation. And behold, such a racket, now sure I can't keep it sung. O'Brien called Maloney then an educated bum. Up jumped Maloney and he hit him such a crack. He raised up a lump in the middle of his back. That was the signal and they all began to fight. The women hollered murder and they said it wasn't right. Murphy threw the poker and he hit a Houlihan. O'Brien threw the kettle and he threw the frying pan. Patton stole a small keg and threw the window dove. O'Brien sat down on a red hot stove. All kinds of wood was flying through the air. Brady hit O'Grady with the runger of a chair. Murphy grabbed Sullivan, threw him on the bed, stabbed him with the clothespin and left him there for dead. The police caught 25, 30 got away, brought them all before the judge the very next day. The judge looked them over as before him they stood. He gave them 60 days in jail, and now they're all sawn wood.
Remember that song? How long did you have to
10
work
minutes,
on
15 minutes.
To learn it?
How long, did it take you to work on that?
Oh, well, I learned it when I was a kid.
Okay. And who's someone around here saying that?
From my uncles sang it. I had two uncles that sang it. So I learned it pretty well from them.
When it was kid, some weeks ago.
Some weeks ago. Several weeks ago. Many weeks ago. I learned it from my kids, from my, back in the 60s, I guess. I learned it from my two uncles.
Which uncles? Name your uncles.
Tim and Elmer. So the one you mentioned, the Irish Jubilee, Elmer used to sing that, Jimmy, but I haven't learned it yet. I'm still working on that one.
Elmer.
Thompson's.